I am the good shepherd, Jesus said. And with so many things that Jesus said, there is a bit of a background to it, which many of his listeners at the time would have been aware of. Because hundreds of years before, as I mentioned briefly previously, the prophet Ezekiel had spoken about a shepherd, about God promising to come to his people as a shepherd. And it's in Ezekiel chapter 34, and in fact it's a bit of a condemnation against the leaders of Israel at the time, who were doing such a bad job of looking after the people. And let me just read you a few words from Ezekiel. He says this: "For this is what the sovereign Lord said, I myself will search for my sheep and look after them. As a shepherd looks after his scattered flock, and when he is with them, so I will look after my sheep." And a bit later on, "There they will lie down in good grazing, and there they will feed in a rich pasture on the mountains of Israel. I myself will tend my sheep and make them lie down, declares the sovereign Lord. I will search for the lost and bring back the strays. I will bind up the injured and strengthen the weak." They're lovely words, aren't they? Written so many years before Jesus actually came and said, "I am the good shepherd." And so you see, God was making good his promise in Jesus. And so once again, with this "I am" saying, as with most if not all of them, again Jesus is claiming to be on a par with God. So Jesus was fulfilling a promise made by God to ancient Israel. Although when Jesus talks here of having sheep that are not of this sheep pen, it's a way of saying that he's not only coming now to the people of Israel, but he's coming to all people, everywhere. What else is Jesus saying to us through this illustration? Well, again, following on from the verses we read last week, he's speaking again about his desire to protect and to care for his sheep, to protect and care for us if we want him to, if we want to belong to his flock. And thinking about caring for animals reminds me of the Yorkshire Vet on TV, which we've been watching recently. Do you watch it? Leslie and I are big fans, though I wouldn't be surprised if some of you didn't watch it, because it gets a bit gruesome sometimes with the surgery they show, not for the squeamish. But aside from that, what always impresses me is the amount of love and care that farmers show towards their animals. How often they will say that they know each individual animal, and the way they will do their absolute utmost to avoid losing even one of them. In fact, thinking about knowing animals individually, I remember reading about a church minister who visited the Holy Land and spoke to a shepherd there, who told him that even if he was blindfolded, he could still recognise each of his sheep by feeling their faces. Can you believe? How lovely is that? And this is the kind of individual care and attention that God wants to be able to give to each of us. And not only does he know us, but he wants us to get to know him. Of course, a shepherd in biblical times could face real danger in order to protect his sheep. And yes, there are those accounts of King David in the Old Testament, who'd been a shepherd as a young lad and would fight off wolves and even lions to protect his sheep. But I wonder how many shepherds would go so far as giving their lives for their sheep. 3 times in these few verses, Jesus says, as the good shepherd, he will lay down his life for his sheep. People do sometimes lay down their lives for others. When lockdown started, we were halfway through an Alpha course with a group of people. And well, we will continue that after lockdown. But there's a story used as part of Alpha of a Roman Catholic priest in World War II. He was in a concentration camp. And what had happened was one prisoner had escaped. And so as a reprisal, the prisoners were lined up and 10 selected at random to be put in a starvation bunker and left there to die. And as the 10 were chosen, one of them shouted out, "Oh, my wife and my children," who he would be leaving. And at that point, a Roman Catholic priest stepped forward and said, "I would like to die in place of that man." And his offer was accepted. And he replaced the other man. And survivors of the camp would tell afterwards how they were aware that the priest was praying with those in that bunker right till the end, even getting them to sing hymns together. Quite a story. Well, Jesus died for us. Yes, he knew he would rise to life again afterwards. He says so in as many words in that reading. But did that really make it any easier for him to make that sacrifice? I don't think so. Knowing that you're going to be first flogged to within an inch of your life, and then nails are going to be hammered into your hands and feet, and you're going to be left there for hours on a cross to die slowly. Of suffocation would be the usual thing. What a way to die. And this what was in the mind of Jesus when he said, "I am ready to lay down my life for you, for us." And he didn't die just for his friends or those who were in some way worthy of it. He even died for his enemies. He died for all of us. And only really after his death did it become clear to his followers what that death meant for all of us. As we read in Acts chapter 10, verse 43, it was so that everyone who believes in him receives forgiveness of sins through his name. Forgiveness, of course, being the essential thing which all of us need first in order to come truly to know God and to be a part of his flock. Well, at the time there were divided opinions over what Jesus had said. Some thought he was either demon-possessed or raving mad, we're told. But others said differently. In the very end of that reading from John's Gospel, others said, "These are not the sayings of a man possessed by a demon. Can a demon open the eyes of the blind?" You can understand their dilemma. No one else had ever come making such claims as these. It reminds me of something that C.S. Lewis once said, the author of the Narnia Chronicles. Again, we read it as part of the Alpha course. It's in the manual. C.S. Lewis said this: "A man who was merely a man and said the sort of things Jesus said would not be a great moral teacher. He would either be insane or else he would be the devil of hell. You must make your choice. Either this man was and is the Son of God, or else insane or something worse. But let us not come up with any patronizing nonsense about his being a great human teacher. He has not left that open to us. He did not intend to." Yes, we must all make a choice what to believe about Jesus. It's important that we make that choice. I wonder, what your choice is this morning.